Any other question?
We have a hand up with Nikolai here. Nikolai, could you go ahead, please?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you for taking my question, and thank you for the beautiful teaching today, Mr. Kesh. It's a wonderful gift that you've given to for the birthday of Raphael. I think that's quite fitting. My question has to do with, well, it's a question to do with the intellect and to do with the heart. In what I would call many so-called spiritual communities, or otherwise people who have, let's stay with the spiritual community, they will say, come from the heart, because that is the strongest field. And in attempting to teach some of these teachings that come from the Kesh Foundation and from your knowledge and from the greater collective knowledge about the location of the soul within the brain, these people who have learned a slightly different understanding have very great difficulty with the idea that the intellect and the soul in the brain could be more powerful, or could be perhaps that the soul could be within the structure of the brain. This is very difficult for them. And they say, no, come from the heart, forget what is in the brain. Can you speak to this and perhaps expand some knowledge in this area?
In what form?
Perhaps I want to know in which regard, how are the fields of the heart perceived to be so strong? Is it that it is the manifestation of two other fields, that the fields within the brain and the fields within the body, the soul of the man and the soul of the physicality, create the structure?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. One is tuning to the other and vice versa. This is what your cell says and say, my heart says don't do, because you receive the message through the soul. It's a translator, interpreter of the message. Understanding of the totality is the part that I would say my heart says don't do. And where did the heart get the message from? Partially from its own interaction with the fields on the matter state, and partially from the soul. Soul of the man never sleeps. The sun never stops shining. It's the man who is on the facing of the sun side of the earth, or on the back of it. It's then we receive the light of it in different strengths. It's the same with the soul of physicality. Very strange. Maybe in the future mankind will understand. I'm not a very good drawer. The soul of the man shines in all dimensions and directions. What happened when the sun shines on the left of your heart or the right of your heart? Would the position of the heart in respect to soul creates different fields interactions of different strength, that it creates different emotion within the man? Which part of the heart will receive air from the lungs first, of the highest order, and takes back from the other. The field interaction with the soul and the conversion of the fields at the heart, that's why we feel the emotion. We feel my heart doesn't work, because the sun sits above in the center of the brain. And now you have this rocking chair of the heartbeat of the man in different positions continuously. Then you understand why man has a mixed motion and emotion. The sun, the soul, does not stop shining. It's the position of the heart which receives it. And then how you react. The blood flow is sporadic in the body of the man, in the circulation. It condenses in this area. So it has more possibility of interactions. As it gives, it receives. It's not a one-way traffic that we only receive. Where emotion goes there, it feeds the soul, and the soul communicates with other souls. That's how your balance of your doing comes. And we see how things turn out. And we see how we feel the fields due to what we call, you got to understand something very simple. This goes back again to what I call science of physicality. You have the heart of the man. You have a blood circulation, which we call the dark blood, the oxygenated, and we have a blood which is oxygenated. Now we understand the blood of the man is a Gans. Brings not only the blood, but with it brings the emotion of what the physicality has done. And every blood, when it comes into the heart of the man, like the way we have the liver which we store from the blood surplus, the soul of the man has the same liver, memory bank of whatever has been brought from the physical emotion. Then you have the source of life or the environment, and this comes with a different strength. We look at the physical condition in how much blood it goes. In the new knowledge, we look at how much fields it brings in and how much fields come with this one. The interaction of the fields between the two creates a new dimension, what we call the soul of physicality. And this, in turn, interacts in the mixture of fields with the soul of the man. The same as it gives, it takes. Exchange of information in the central bank. Or most of it. Because the rest of it, through the same blood flow, will go around the brain, the skull, and comes back. And it's very much what we never understood. Where does the gravity starts and where does magnetic fields finishes? And this is, if you understand this, then you can do a lot in the future technology of understanding knowledge of creation to decide on the condition of the physicality of the man. These two have to work in unison to keep the soul and the physicality in all dimensions as a field, where the physicality is manifestation in interaction with the field of environment. Then, now you tell me, why do I feel that emotion in my heart? It's where the sun shines, interacts with totality of the field. Where here it collects in this circulation around the brain information only about physical interaction with the essence of the physical soul of the man in the heart. Now you understand. Then, if you understood this, Earth, Moon, Jupiter, planet Zeus, another galaxy, is how we allow this field interact with the field of the soul to lead to the, if decided, to creation of the dynamic physicality of the being. It's as simple as that. You convert this into the knowledge where the sun is the soul of the creator of the man. And then you have the soul of the man. It's the same. Then you understand the, what I call the soul of physicality. Then you see how the soul of the man, soul of physicality, connects through to the soul of the creator. It's so simple. Next time when you feel in your heart, see if you can feel the emotion of the soul. And then that emotion of the soul, if you can feel it, then you decide, is it with the interaction of the soul of creator? Then you become aware of the knowledge of the universe, the creation. As messengers, we understand the totality. And that's why we can teach so normal and so at the level that everybody can understand. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. There's a question from Ed. You may have answered already in a way, but is there a connection between inertia and emotion? And if so, could you elaborate on this?
Emotion has a strength which changes to physicality. When you feel sad, you create cries and tears or whatever. You convert the fields into matter state reaction in the body of the man. So it's an inertia based, yes. you change the emotion into laughter. So you convert the emotion to reaction of the physicality. This is what I call inertia of the mind. As I said a few minutes ago, every level has inertia. It's how you interpret it, how you manifest it, or you show it.
Okay, we had a comment from Brazil, from Marco in the Q&A, who says, hello, Mr. Keshwick and searchers. We here in Brazil thank you for the affection and love. We are in party, our souls dance of so much joy. I guess that's a rough translation from the Portuguese, probably. We have another question in the Q&A from Paulo, who says, in Brazil, there are 10,000 in a Telegram group. If each of these reaches 1,000, we are tens of thousands. When you started taking the liberating knowledge to everyone, at the same time, Brazil in April 15th, 2010, went in the UN Security Council, our former president, on a trip to his country, defended before the world the peaceful program of Iran. Our president was rejected by the geopolitical forces at that time, criticizing him as if he was innocent with the true intention of Mohammed Ahmadinejad. With the group of knowledge seekers growing more and more here, perhaps it is a result of this political action in the past, even ignoring the science that makes encounter with the soul. Question, could in this meeting of presidents, a plasma implant that grows and benefits the organic expansion of knowledge seekers from here?
I don't understand.
I think he's asking, could it be this meeting of presidents that help grow the expansion of the knowledge seekers from Brazil, this connection with Iran, where they apparently defended Iran, but got rejected by the forces of the world?
The situation with Iran is difficult. Iran is not the only one. You got to remember something. Maybe for the first time to be this close. If you remember, North Korea was under a lot of pressure, making blah blah and everything else, and nobody could understand the rapid development of the nuclear technology of North Korea. And now we see it silent past 3-4 years. Keshe Foundation released internally to the Chinese government and to certain officials who are important within EU, how North Korea is gaining knowledge, nuclear technology, rocket technology, and the rest. And in that disclosure, we disclosed to the governments that the technology is coming from European Space Agency, sold by the Belgium director into North Korea. Belgians were selling weapon technology developed by Europe through the director to North Korea through their government and the officials. And that door was closed very rapidly. And we see North Korea does not show much. They're trying to, but they cannot get. Because Europeans were having access to the American latest technologies as part of being the same, working, collaborating. And this technology was getting sold by the Belgians within the EU space technology in a backdoor to the North Koreans. When this became in openness, the first time we disclose it, a lot changed. We saw the end of North Korea development because they can't receive any more free knowledge from EU through Belgium. And the Belgians tried to do the same with Boeing. They tried to sell the technology of European to Boeing, the same man, the same group. And now we see changes. It's the same with Brazil. Knowledge is there. Brazilian space technology is very mature. That's why we always pick to work with it. Now with the gift of the enhancement unit, it's the scientists who already have the knowledge in a very deep way can develop it more rapidly. Our objective is to give to the nations who are very rapidly developed and put them in not competition but collaboration to achieve the flight collectively, where you can fly in 0 times more or less, and then we see the present aircraft industry becomes obsolete, borders become obsolete. It's the pattern which we always worked. Go back to last week. I explained the situation very clearly about what happened in Arvel, what happened after we left the Iranian embassy 2 weeks ago. Now you know the reason. You touch us, we wipe you out. You touch the technology the wrong way, you wipe yourself out of the arena. You touch another Iranian nuclear physicist, there'll be nobody there to touch us anymore, because we make sure that you touch, you wipe yourself out, not us. It's the same in Brazil. The Brazilian leaders understood the importance of the development of the nuclear technology. The club could not stay a club. I can show you the evidence of the attempt of my life on the screen now. 2 weeks ago by the Israelis, Mossad in Istanbul. It was just a pure luck that it wasn't set the way they set it. We give the knowledge freely. We do the knowledge freely. We, accept the knowledge freely, be it political, be it scientific. Brazilians leadership understood, because it's the progress. We cannot go into space if we don't fully understand the knowledge of the creation, which is nuclear plasma. Otherwise, you're still burning fuels and gases, what we are doing now. And the Brazilian scientists and government understood. And it's the same. It'll be the same. We don't get crucified by not knowing. We get crucified when we know and they want to show there is something wrong.
We have someone new here, the hand up. Claudia, could you go ahead if you like?
Yes, hi Rick. Hello, Mr. Keshe. It's a pleasure to talk to you again. My name is Claudia from Brazil. And my question is, you said in a teaching that our body disappear when we have 72 Teslas. And my question is, when we do exams like MRI and have 1.5 or until 3 Teslas, our fields change permanently or come back to the normal after the exams?
You mean when you go to the field radiation? Most of it in MRIs and X-rays, the body will disperse the energy. We do that in nuclear testings. When you go to the hospitals and they inject the nuclear material into your blood and take the radiation with the systems to see where the faults are or where the damage is in the body. These kind of radiations are temporary and it literally cleared out by the body within 24 hours. X-rays, if they hit the center of the nucleus, they create dislocation, but essentially they just pass through and the energy is absorbed by the body and then it dissipates as part of it. So it depends. We see sometimes faults with X-ray machines and MRI is when the beam is concentrated. And that creates the dislocation of the, what we call fields, or increase the fields of the GANs, and it moves to a new position. And that position then becomes permanent and can lead to damages and other things. Now we don't look at the MRIs and X-ray machines and nuclear materials for medical application as a matter state. We look at it as an energy state and what that energy does and what new position creates for it. So essentially, unless it's not directly, we do that in radiation therapy. In radiation therapy, we deliberately go for dislocating the cells. Especially they use it in cancers with precision. But in MRIs and X-rays and what we call medical radiation, it's generally dispersed. And when you see a damage, they usually repair the systems. MRIs need to be checked every 7 days, 14 days, that the field radiation is sporadic, is not concentrated in any part. Some of the MRI systems are dangerous to go in if they are not checked regularly, because it's a machine. If it at a certain point creates a concentrated field, it can create the next generation of problems.
Because change the spins of our cells, but come back again after the exam. So
yes, sometimes it goes back if it's not concentrated. Yes, it's a big difference. Is that more or less we use in a way the same fields as the X-ray machines and the MRI machines and other systems like this. Even in the ultrasonic, in the system used in ultrasounds, we have that possibility because we are transferring fields to the body of the man. And now we understand the body of the man is made of gases. It absorbs part of it. And it reflects back, or it allows through what is transferred less of to reach as another energy. And then what happens to that energy? This was a turning point in my life when I was about 8 years old, when I literally was sleeping under the X-ray machine in Tehran, where I went with my father. This was point, what happened to this field? If it goes through me, what happens to it? What do I absorb? Trying to understand what question you raised came to me some 50 odd years ago in Tehran. And I even remember the hospital. I remember the place because it changed the whole idea of innocent boy to a scientist. Then you try to understand which part of it stays with me, what goes through me, what is absorbed by me, and what do I give back? And this became a quest for 30, 40 years. When I saw the first MRIs coming out in the early 70s, I remember I wrote to my father, because he was part of the electromedical in Tehran, that can we get this to Iran? How fast? Do you know what this can do? My father wrote me, boy, you're too advanced for what is coming. These are, we have to see. Because if you literally could create the field strength within the MRI of the soul of the man, you can elevate the soul of the man in the MRI machine. But we don't have that knowledge because we are matter state positioned. We never understood the difference between matter and a plasma, which the body of man is not matter, it's a plasma. That's why it's soft, and it takes different shape of it. It allows the capacity. If you touch your skin and you push it, it goes up and down. It's a matter state. It cannot happen. Does it happen if with the iron, if you get a piece of iron and push it, does it go down? No. It happens within the skin of the man, within the structural body of the man, because we are made of gases. We push one star further, the other stars look, we push one magnet, the other magnets look. That's why we have a flexibility of the skin or the muscle tissues. We dislocate plasma, what we call gases, not matter state of it. And then in that position, the gases can dissipate fields from the source. If you look at it, if you concentrate the MRI on the soul of the man that derives the strength, you do what we do in the enhancement units. But with the enhancement units, we allow the soul of the physicality become within the structure of another field, which is the field of the system. We superimpose. And then the soul goes like what you call in the dream state, that you receive for what you want to see and who you want to make contact.
Okay, I appreciate. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It'll be very, very interesting when we put the soul of the man in these systems. And as we know, we are a collection of the information of the soul of the past. What our souls will manifest, what he has seen over centuries, thousands of years. Because now the knowledge becomes available on what you call the restricted level, according to what we want to know about today. Would we see the soul or a person who's been sitting and working with Tesla? Would we find the people who work with Tesla and find their descendants, and by putting them into these systems, we hear the voice of Tesla because they heard it. It's recorded. His gentleness, his wisdom. And then go back to what I said years ago. Will bring man to see his all registered within the universe, the soul of the man. Nothing shall be hidden.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We've got Raphael with a hand up here. I think he's ready to say something. Perhaps. Raphael, are you
Hello?
there? Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Cash. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for the happy birthday and thank you for this gift. I was not expecting that. And thank you very much. The whole Brazilian community is very happy with this. And I just would like to share something that we share also in the One Nation. It was about our work here. And as we said, believe it or not, we started with just the sincere wish of 2 people here in our country, this work. So as we said, that's all you need to start. And then the rest grows out of it. And this is what we are feeling that's happening here in Brazil. As it was said by Paulo, we have now more than 11,000 members. But the main thing is how, oh, thank you, Rick. Do you want me to read, Rick? May I read?
Sure, that'd be a great idea. Yep.
So this is what we share in the One Nation last Tuesday. So it's the power of intention. Brazil Telegram restored. So suddenly last week, we received information that the Brazilian Supreme Court was going to shut down Telegram in 5 days. We couldn't understand how this case got so quickly to the highest court in the land. We all felt this would disturb our work. Then towards the end of the silence period of our daily intention, we asked people to focus on resolution of the situation with Telegram. People felt a surge of energy through the group. To our surprise, right after our intention, a news flash came that Telegram just received the email from the Supreme Court, which previously had been lost. The next day, we organized our intention more clearly. Again, there was a great power in our group, and 1 day later, the Supreme Court said Telegram would remain open. So we just want everybody to know that the power to change our world is within us, and we encourage all the countries to organize themselves. It's hard to accept the simplicity with which we have access to the soul of the Creator. It's finding that sincere emotion and feeling inside and wanting to serve the others. Believe it or not, we started with just a sincere wish of 2 people. That's all you need to start, and then the rest grows. Thank you for listening, and thank you for all your love and care, Sakesh.
You're welcome, and thank you for your work. I was talking to some of our knowledge seekers, and interesting is that how the translators of the Keshe Foundation into their native language creates or has created those who actually, through the translating initially, understanding the essence of the soul of the technology and the science, and they become, what do you call it, totally geared up with the work of the foundation. We saw it in Fabio. We see it in Rafael. We see it with Mario in Keshe Foundation Lens. We see it with most of the translators. We see it with Pang Lin into Chinese, and we saw it before. I think in the translation, it's not just the word which gets translated. They translate the essence of the emotion. And it's beautiful to see how they become the center of the knowledge and then the center of the foundation. In so many ways, when you wish it, you receive it. We went to Brazil with a wish to bring that elevation of the knowledge and technology beyond the restriction which was put by the Universal Council of Portugal on Brazil. And we see a lot of changes when people wish. The Brazilians have every night, I think, a session for the elevation of the soul of 5+1 that they keep on a piece of path, a path of peace, and how they work on it. And it's the wish which creates. It's the sun that it shines. It just, as I said, how many bulbs do you put next to each other to create that number, that light, and how it will shine? We see the same thing with the work of the Universal Council member of Italy, how Italians are working in the background. We see the same thing with Iran, with the members of the Keshe Foundation in Iran, how situation is changing. And gradually it adds up. One of the most discoordinated part of Keshe Foundation is where we speak the language, like in the United States and in England. The center has not been created except for those who just work within the structure of the British don't come together. The Americans, because everything is in English, why should we do that? There's a need translation, and they don't make it thousands of, hundreds of thousands of, but they have not managed to get. But when it comes to language, they do, and through that translation, they learn more and they connect more. We've seen that in Brazil. And it brings a reflection of what it is. When we were in Brazil about 2.5 years ago for the first time, and Raphael was the translator, I could feel the essence of the sincerity, the simplicity of understanding the truth about the soul of the man, and the knowledge was something secondary. And it just developed. There was a huge objection to, especially from the old guard. We saw one of them being disqualified from Facebook very recently for rhetorics, which came again back by the Belgians. He's been disconnected. His Facebook has been taken off for a temporary and most probably become permanent, objecting why we put Raphael to head the Keshe Foundation. We had a number of Brazilians who they thought they are entitled to be running the Keshe Foundation. They were entitled because they did so much physicality. We looked the light in the soul of the man. And it's proven to be correct. It's proven that our judgment by soul was more important than the position acquiring place in the Brazilian community. If you would have allowed any of the old guard stay there because they were 5 years before or 10 years before, Keshe Foundation in Brazil would not have been where it is today. And we've seen it. It was a right decision. And we see the same thing when we appointed the two heads of the Keshe Foundation, the two ladies. There was a lot of rhetoric that this and that, but we've seen it. How the Keshe Foundation is going, even in China or outside. And it's part of this that the foundation will realize in the long term. What we see in the soul counts, not in the dimension of physicality. And Brazil will go a long, long way. I'm sure we met with the governmental people, with Raphael when I was in Brazil, the what we call advisors, ministerial advisors, and we see now with this gift, they will get involved. They'll become part of it, and they will extend this to knowledge sharing between most probably Brazil and Arizona and NASA and Iran. We'll build in the next few weeks what we call the space group of the Keshe Foundation, where the scientists around the world will be made members of this group on Telegram, that all can share knowledge. Doesn't matter where they come from NASA or the rest. Or some of them sit on the sideline just to learn and see what they can do to show better. Any of the groups which tries to hide things and trying to show they've done better or to come up with something, you'll find out they create their own demise. It's there when they block the receipt of knowledge. And we'll see step by step in the process growing. And I'm sure Brazil will be a shining star in the process of what we call a space development. We knew it when they landed. We go back to the pictures which were released at the time when we landed in the skies of Brazil. It's beautiful. You have a beautiful nation and beautiful knowledge seekers, and those who were there for their own personal gain have already become silent and disappeared, and they'll disappear. Thank you very much for your work, Raphael, and your team, and a very happy birthday to you. I received a message from members of the Universal Council and others that is your birthday on 26th. Would I give a message for the teaching of tomorrow in the Brazilian chat? And I thought it's better for the whole world to know than just the Brazilians what the gift you have brought to the state of Brazil, knowledge seekers and the nation. And I think it'll be well used, and you know exactly where you have to go, which scientists you have to speak, because when these things land, you cannot put in your pocket. It's a big thing, and they have to react with or get people to understand the knowledge. Thank you very much for your work, and a very happy birthday. A very beautiful happy birthday. Any other question?
Just a reminder that the Brazilian group have a Zoom meeting tomorrow at 11 p.m., starting 11 p.m. Central European time. And I think I should post that perhaps in our meeting here. It's a public meeting for people.
They have a public meeting every night, if I'm correct, about Iran, the peace negotiations on Telegram. There's quite a few of them in there. I attended one of them very recently, and it's very nice, very beautiful the way they do the work. Maybe it's good to extend from 5+1 for the whole humanity, the world leaders. And the group has enough power that can do that. Any other question?
We had a comment in the YouTube in Iranian that I translated, or in Persian. Hello, Mr. Kesh. When are you coming to Iran? We are looking forward to it.
By the new law in Iran, you can ask for clearance before you enter Iran, and that the government guarantees you can return or leave Iran when you enter. And the Iranian Keshe Foundation has already submitted the application to the government. And we have to wait between 30 days and 90 days that they give you a clearance prior to entry. Because last time when I went to Iran, there was some problems with my exit, and I had to wait. This time, the office, the Iranian office, has already submitted the application form to the government through the channels. We wait. If given guaranteed clearances by the Iranian government and SEPA, I'll be in Tehran. You have to achieve this nowadays before you go. If you're an ordinary person, no problem. But people in our position, you have to have a clearance that you can leave Iran upon your arrival. And we're waiting for what do you call it, our team in Tehran to announce it's been done. There's a lot of work going on in Iran. We have made it very clear to the European and Americans how we're working in Iran, and that there is nothing that we are an organization, this and that. The factory in Tehran is getting set up. It's beautiful what Yusuf and the Iranian team are achieving. I think they'll go into production in the next few days after the Iranian celebration. Our work in Iran does not stop. And in so many ways, when I look at what Yusuf is achieving in Tehran is amazing. And you have to understand, we work within the restrictions. We work within what we call the structure that keeps the foundation safe both in Iran and outside. And maybe I can share with you some of the beautiful things. The Iran factory is getting up. It has received the ISO certificate, and this is Iran, the new factory part of it that you will see is set up to the highest level. And it'll go into production. And the beauty of it is this, even the toolboxes has the logo of the Keshe Foundation, KFSSI on it. And we'll see this factory into production very, very soon, immediately after the holidays. But we are extending this factory to more. And it's nice to be there when the production, the factory opens up. This factory, this company has already received orders for export. And they go automatically into production for export of the materials to China and to Russia. Any other question?
There was something here that is of interest in the YouTube from Alpha. Mr. Kesh, thanks for your plasma knowledge. Alpha from French Guiana. How can the field of the soul of man can radiate voluntarily over the field of the body of the human? Is it about purity of thought?
is purity of accepting, allowing. That's all. Is to understand I can do that. I can allow physicality to be what I call in parallel and not subordinate. If you make the physicality subordinate to the soul, then we make the same mistake as before, where we superimpose the physicality over the soul. It's a balance, and how much you can change. You can do it with a heartbeat. You can do it with a understanding of the heartbeat, the true plasmatic heartbeat, not the heartbeat of the man that you see in the physical dimension.
Okay, thank you for that. I get the feeling you want to wrap things up here, perhaps.
It's no problem.
Yes.
Thank you very much. If you feel that way, we go most of the time. We are within the time limit we are.
Don't have any more hands up. There's a couple more
So,
questions.
Yeah, we're nearly over 3 hours. Anyway, let's see what happens and see what we shall do in the coming days. We will see in the first week of April, hopefully, the movement of the first units into Arizona. Many of you will be interested to understand the technology. The units will be flown into Arizona in the coming days. And then it's not there for you to go and see. It has to go through the process that those who are considered needing the what I call the enhancement in the body enhancement, what we call emotion enhancement unit, will benefit by it. And part of these systems is devoted to serve the American veterans who need that help. We'll see from there on we take over, and these wellness centers will start from there on. Thank you very much for today.